Chosen one, listen closely. This message is not for everyone. Only those who walk the divine path should remain here. Those who wander in darkness, those who reject God's truth, they will not feel drawn to this message. But you, if you are still here, it is because the Spirit guided you. This reached you at the exact moment your soul was ready. Nothing about this is accidental. This is a divine appointment, and what you are about to hear will shift the direction of your journey. Your prayers have reached the throne of God, and because of that, this message carries a weight, a presence, a confirmation you have been waiting for. I am speaking directly to you, chosen one. You have been seeking signs, searching for clarity, and asking heaven for guidance. Today, God answers you through this message. Stay with me until the end, because every word is meant for your spirit, not just your ears. What you hear today will bring peace where there was confusion, strength where there was doubt, and certainty where there was hesitation. Before we begin, chosen one, speak your presence in the comments. Declare your alignment by commenting one number that resonates with your spirit, 999. Let it be a sign of your faith. And remember to subscribe, tap the bell icon, and share this message so it reaches those who need it. Now, let us begin.
Dear chosen one, are you walking the path of God but feeling a lack of guidance? Do you feel alone and isolated and want to know why God is doing this to you? We have built a community for the 144,000 chosen ones where you can watch our premium videos, get daily newsletters and prayer techniques to connect with God more deeply. You can also read blog posts and receive free ebooks to learn more about your journey. It will be your guide to walk the path of God and lead a life of faith and wisdom. More than 1,000 brothers and sisters have already joined, so don't miss out on today's daily guidance. Check out the link in the video description and join the 144,000 Chosen One community right now.
Your prayers have entered the higher realm. Chosen one, you must understand something that many people never come to realize in their entire spiritual journey. Your prayers do not move through the heavens the same way ordinary prayers do. When you speak, the vibration of your words carries a different spiritual signature. Your voice holds a seal, a mark that identifies you as one of God's anointed ones. Because of this, when you pray from a place of sincerity, purity, and unwavering faith, the spiritual realm responds with a different level of urgency. Your prayers do not wander. They ascend with intention. They push through resistance with strength. They reach the higher realm because they carry your calling. Many of you have felt that your prayers sometimes disappear into silence. You speak to God, yet you do not hear an immediate answer. You ask, but you do not see a rapid shift in your circumstances, and that silence makes you wonder if your voice has been noticed at all. But hear me clearly, chosen one. Silence is not the absence of movement. Silence is the confirmation of heavenly processing. When God hears your prayer, He does not rush. He arranges, He prepares, He aligns. And the moment your prayer enters the higher realm, the entire structure of your journey begins to shift even before your physical eyes perceive it. Chosen ones often carry heavy burdens because God trusts them with more responsibility. You are not spiritually ordinary. Your spirit is built to understand deeper truths, and for that reason, your prayers hold more power. When your words rise to heaven, they are measured not only by what you say, but also by the purity of your heart. God sees your intentions. He sees the discipline behind your faith. He sees how you continue to pray even when exhaustion tries to silence you. And that perseverance is what causes heaven to respond differently to you. Your prayer does not simply ask. It activates, it opens gates, it commands movement in the unseen realm. There is a divine pathway that your prayers travel through, and once they pass through that spiritual gate, nothing can reverse their arrival. Your prayer becomes a decree in heaven. It becomes a recorded request in the courts of God. Every chosen one must understand that once your prayer reaches that point, no demonic interference can stop it. No earthly obstacle can delay it. No negative voice can cancel it. God has heard you, and when God hears you, He sets things into motion that no force can interrupt. The higher realm does not operate like the physical world. It listens to faith, not fear. It responds to spiritual authority, not earthly permission. You may have wondered why the challenges you face seem stronger right after you pray. This is one of the clearest signs that your prayer has already been acknowledged in the higher realm. When the enemy senses movement around your life, it attempts to distract you. This is why discouragement rises. This is why confusion intensifies. This is why old temptations return. The enemy cannot block what heaven has already received, but it can attempt to weaken your belief. It wants to see whether you truly understand the value of your own prayer. But chosen one, you were never meant to collapse under pressure. You were meant to recognize pressure as confirmation. Your prayer carries weight because your spirit carries purpose. Often you speak prayers that even you do not fully understand. You speak with divine instinct. Something in your soul knows what to ask for, even when your mind is still learning. Many chosen ones pray with a maturity beyond their years because their spirit has been trained through divine testing. And that maturity is what elevates your prayer. Heaven hears the depth of your longing. Heaven hears the sincerity of your struggle. Heaven hears your request even when you whisper it through tears. And because your heart is aligned with God's will, your prayer is treated as a heavenly priority. When your prayer reaches God, the spiritual realm begins to rearrange things that are far beyond your natural awareness. People who are wrong for your destiny begin to exit your life. Opportunities that are beneath your calling begin to close. Doors that do not match your purpose become sealed. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but what you must understand is that divine rearrangement always feels like disruption before it feels like blessing. When your prayer enters the higher realm, God begins to remove everything that stands between you and the fulfillment of that prayer. He purifies your path so that nothing contaminates the promise. Chosen one, you have to understand that God responds to your prayers even when the response is invisible. The higher realm moves quietly. It does not announce its actions. It does not send warnings before the breakthrough arrives. But there are signs you can recognize. Your spirit becomes more sensitive. Your dreams become clearer. Your intuition becomes stronger. You begin to feel a separation from things that once felt familiar. All these are indications that your prayer has already been handled in heaven. The spiritual atmosphere around you shifts long before your circumstances do. Some of you have prayed for provision, guidance, healing, or clarity. And although you may not see immediate results, your prayer has already activated divine timing. God does not only answer what you prayed for, He prepares you to receive it. This preparation often feels like delay, but it is divine construction. God shapes your character so that when the answer arrives, you are strong enough to hold it. If the blessing came before the preparation, it would overwhelm you. But when your prayer reaches the higher realm, God begins forming you into the version of yourself that can sustain the miracle. Your spirit already knows your prayer has been heard. That is why you feel a quiet confidence, even in the middle of uncertainty. That is why your soul refuses to accept defeat. Something inside you knows there is movement in heaven. Chosen ones sense spiritual change before it becomes physical reality. And this is what sets you apart. You do not walk by what you see. You walk by what your spirit knows. You walk by divine sensitivity. You walk by the authority God placed within you. Chosen one, understand this. Your prayer has already arrived in the higher realm. God has received it. God has acknowledged it. And God has begun responding. Now, your only task is to remain aligned, remain faithful, and remain spiritually awake. Heaven is moving on your behalf. And soon, what was once only a prayer will become your testimony. The moment heaven responds. Chosen one, there is a sacred moment in every spiritual journey that very few people ever recognize. It is the moment heaven responds, not with loud signs, not with sudden lightning, not with dramatic visions. Instead, heaven responds with a shift so subtle, so gentle, that only those who walk closely with God can detect it. This moment is powerful, yet quiet. It is divine, yet delicate. It is the point where your prayer transitions from request to reality, from hope to movement, from longing to fulfillment. And chosen one, you have reached that point. Heaven's response is never random. It aligns perfectly with God's timing. When your prayer reaches the higher realm, heaven begins to rearrange things on your behalf. But the first evidence of this divine movement is not external. It is internal. You begin to feel a peace that does not match your situation. You begin to feel a strange calm, even when problems still surround you. You begin to feel a quiet confidence, even though nothing has changed on the surface. This is heaven's whisper saying, the answer has been released. Peace is the spiritual signature of a heavenly response. Another sign that heaven has responded is when confusion suddenly begins to fade. You may not have full clarity yet, but you start seeing small rays of understanding. Ideas become sharper. Discernment becomes clearer. You begin separating what is divine from what is destructive. You begin distancing yourself from things that once drained you. This is not accidental. This is God clearing the path so you can walk toward the blessing He is preparing. When heaven responds, your mind becomes lighter because God lifts spiritual fog from your path. Many chosen ones notice something unusual during this stage. A sudden detachment from certain people, places, or habits. At first, you may not understand why you feel withdrawn from things that once felt normal. But chosen one, this detachment is a holy sign. When heaven responds to your prayer, God begins separating you from anything that would interfere with your blessing. This separation may be emotional, mental, or spiritual, but it is always purposeful. God removes distractions so you can walk freely toward what He has prepared. You feel the shift because heaven is making room. Heaven's response also shows itself through divine alignment. People begin entering your life unexpectedly with the exact encouragement, wisdom, or support you need. Opportunities begin appearing that match your spirit. Doors that were once tightly shut begin to loosen. The timing of these events is not coincidental. When heaven responds, your steps become guided. You may not realize you are being guided, but you will feel pulled in the direction of your purpose. God begins placing you in the right conversations, the right environments, and the right spiritual atmosphere. Some chosen ones experience heaven's response through spiritual sensitivity. You become more aware of God's presence. You feel nudges in your heart. You feel warnings when something is not right. You feel an inner push when you need to move. This sensitivity is not new. You always had it. But heaven amplifies it once your prayer is acknowledged. That is because God wants you to notice the signs leading you toward your breakthrough. He sharpens your intuition so you will not miss what He has prepared. And then there is the shift in your emotional state. Chosen ones often feel a sudden burst of strength even when they are tired. A new fire rises inside them. Old fears lose their power. Old wounds begin to heal. You start believing again. You start hoping again. You start seeing yourself differently. This inner transformation is direct evidence of a heavenly response. God strengthens you because the blessing you prayed for is approaching. He would not prepare your spirit if nothing was coming. Strength is preparation. Preparation is confirmation. Another sign heaven has responded is when delays begin to make sense. Things that once frustrated you now feel purposeful. You begin to understand why certain things didn't work out. You see the protection in the moments that felt painful. You see the redirection in situations that once confused you. When heaven responds, God gives you wisdom to understand the path you walked. This understanding brings healing. It brings closure. It brings clarity. You begin recognizing that God's hand was guiding you even in your most difficult seasons. Chosen one, heaven's response also manifests through sudden spiritual resistance. This surprises many people, but the moment heaven moves, the enemy tries to distract you. Suddenly, old worries resurface. Unexpected challenges appear. People may misunderstand you. Your energy may feel drained, but this is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of movement. The enemy reacts only when heaven has already acted. Resistance is proof that something has shifted in your favor. If there was nothing coming, the enemy would not waste energy trying to disturb your peace. The presence of spiritual resistance confirms that heaven has already responded. There is also the moment when your spirit feels elevated. You begin dreaming differently. Your visions become clearer. You wake up with new purpose. You feel a pull toward a higher version of yourself. This spiritual elevation is heaven preparing you to receive what you prayed for. God raises your mindset before he raises your circumstances. Chosen ones often feel this before major breakthroughs. It is the spiritual upgrade that comes before the physical blessing. And lastly, chosen one, heaven's response shows itself through divine timing. Suddenly, things begin aligning without effort. The right people show up. The wrong people fade out. Opportunities open without force. Solutions appear without stress. Your steps become guided not by fear, but by faith. You feel carried. You feel protected. You feel watched over. This is the unmistakable sign that heaven has moved on your behalf. Chosen one, understand this clearly. When heaven responds, your life begins to shift quietly before it shifts visibly. You feel the change before you see the change. You sense the breakthrough before you touch it. You receive the spiritual confirmation long before the physical manifestation. This is how God works with his chosen ones. Heaven has responded to you. And now, your journey is entering a new divine phase. God has taken over the battle. Chosen one. Now hear this with absolute certainty. There comes a moment in your spiritual walk when God no longer allows you to fight with your own strength. A moment when he steps in, takes the weight from your hands and declares, "This battle is mine now." That moment is sacred. It is powerful. And it is happening for you right now. You have carried burdens that were never meant to be permanent. You have wrestled with situations that stretched far beyond human ability. You have prayed, you have endured, and you have remained faithful. And because of that, God has decided to intervene. When he takes over a battle, everything begins to shift in ways your physical eyes cannot yet see. When God takes over, he does not negotiate with your enemies. He does not reason with the forces resisting you. He does not ask permission to move. He acts with authority. He acts with finality. He acts with divine strategy. You may not see the warfare happening in the spiritual realm, but chosen one, the moment God steps in, the outcome is already secured. What once felt overwhelming becomes powerless in his presence. What once felt immovable begins to lose strength. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable through his intervention. God does not fight to see if he will win. God fights because the victory is already written. There are signs that God has taken over your battle, and the first one is an internal release. You begin to feel the heaviness lifting off your spirit. Things that once consumed your mind suddenly lose their power. Worries that used to keep you awake begin to fade. You realize you no longer carry the same tension. That is because God has lifted what was weighing you down. When he takes control, he removes the emotional load first. He frees your spirit so he can move without interference from fear, doubt, or anxiety. The release you feel is not random. It is divine confirmation. Another sign is the sudden disruption of the enemy's plans. Things your enemies intended for harm begin falling apart without you doing anything. People who tried to plot against you expose themselves unintentionally. Negative energy sent your way loses effect. Situations meant to break you simply do not progress. This is because God intercepts every attack before it reaches you. When he takes over the battle, your enemies lose access. They lose influence. They lose spiritual clearance to touch you. The battle shifts out of human hands and into divine territory. Chosen one, when God fights for you, he uses spiritual power, not human methods. You may be tempted to respond, defend yourself, confront people, or explain your side, but something in your spirit stops you. That something is God saying, "Be still. Let me handle this." Stillness is not weakness. It is obedience. It is alignment. It is a declaration of trust. When God instructs you to be still, it means he has already begun fighting where you cannot see. He does not need your frustration. He needs your faith. He does not need your retaliation. He needs your surrender. This is how chosen ones walk, not by force, but by divine backing. There will also be emotional conflict during this stage. Your spirit feels peace, but your mind may still question what is happening. That inner tension is normal. It is part of the spiritual transition. When God takes over, he moves you out of the battlefield and into a place of rest. But your mind is still adjusting, trying to understand why you suddenly feel detached from the fight. This detachment is a sign of elevation. God is raising you above the battle so he can deal with it directly. You cannot rise and fight at the same time. He lifts you so he can strike your enemy without you being touched. Another unmistakable sign is divine redirection. When God takes over the battle, he pulls you away from people, conversations, and environments that drain your spirit. You begin losing interest in things connected to your old struggles. The situation that once consumed you no longer holds the same emotional power. This is God repositioning you. You cannot fight the same battles from the same place. So he shifts your spirit, your mindset, and your environment to align with the victory he is preparing. Your detachment is not loss. It is elevation. It is protection. Chosen one, during this stage, God may also isolate you temporarily. Not to punish you, but to protect you. When he fights for you, he removes noise, distractions, and unnecessary voices. Isolation becomes insulation. It becomes sacred space where God can work without interference. It becomes the spiritual chamber where your strength is restored. You may feel alone, but you are not abandoned. You are being shielded. You are being refined. You are being prepared for the moment when God reveals the victory he has already secured. Here is another powerful sign. Blessings begin forming in the background, quietly and unexpectedly. Opportunities arise without your effort. Solutions appear without struggle. People suddenly want to support you, help you, or guide you. Paths open that were once closed. You start seeing favor in places where you once faced rejection. This is because when God takes over the battle, he clears obstacles from your path. He aligns events so perfectly that even you become surprised by how smoothly things begin unfolding. This is divine orchestration, not coincidence. You may also notice spiritual resistance intensifying briefly. This is not a sign that your battle is failing. It is a sign that the enemy senses defeat. When heaven moves, darkness reacts, but its reaction is nothing more than the final noise before collapse. In moments like these, remind yourself of the truth spoken earlier in this journey. If your spirit feels aligned, if your burdens feel lighter, if your enemies seem confused, then God is in control. This is the time to stand firm. This is the moment to trust fully. You may declare your spiritual alignment again in the comments using one number: 777, 333, 999, 666, or 444, as a sign of your faith. Chosen one, understand this deeply. When God takes over the battle, the outcome is no longer tied to your effort. Your victory is tied to his authority. Your breakthrough is tied to his promise. Your protection is tied to his presence. You are not fighting alone anymore. God is on the battlefield now, and when God fights, the battle always ends the same way: victory for his chosen ones. Your season of struggling in your own strength is over. God has taken over, and the victory is already unfolding. The waiting period after divine intervention. Chosen one, Now that God has taken over the battle, you enter a stage that many struggle to understand: the divine waiting period. This period is not a punishment. It is not neglect. It is not abandonment. It is a holy space where heaven works, and you are invited to trust. When God begins moving in the unseen realm, He often places you in a spiritual stillness to keep you aligned with His plan. This waiting period is where your faith matures, your purpose becomes clearer, and your spirit becomes stronger. Do not rush it. Do not resent it. This is one of the most important seasons of your journey. The waiting period is sacred because it separates the chosen ones from everyone else. Ordinary people grow frustrated and walk away when they do not see immediate results. But chosen ones understand that God moves with intention, not speed. You know that heaven is not late. Heaven is exact. Heaven is deliberate. Heaven works at a pace that aligns with your destiny, not your impatience. This waiting period teaches you how to trust God even when you see nothing changing. It trains your spirit to rely on divine timing instead of human timelines. And chosen one, that is one of the greatest spiritual lessons you will ever learn. During this season, the enemy tries to whisper doubt into your mind. He tells you that nothing is happening. He tries to convince you that God has forgotten you. He wants you to believe that your prayer was ignored. But chosen one, heaven heard you the first time. God is not silent because nothing is happening. God is silent because everything is happening. Divine construction requires peace. Heavenly arrangement requires focus. And God protects you from unnecessary noise so you will not misinterpret the process He is carefully designing for you. You may feel disconnected from certain parts of your old life during this stage. That is because God is closing spiritual doors behind you. The waiting period often feels like a transition where you no longer fit in your past, but you have not yet stepped fully into your future. This in-between space is uncomfortable, but it is also transformational. God uses it to detach you from what no longer serves your purpose. He removes old patterns, old distractions, and old influences. You are being elevated, and elevation always requires separation. Trust that what God is removing is only making room for what He is bringing. Another important element of this waiting period is refinement. God begins shaping your character so you can carry the blessing you prayed for. This is the phase where He strengthens your patience, deepens your wisdom, and sharpens your discernment. If the blessing arrived before the refinement, it would overwhelm you. But God is wise. He stretches your spirit before He expands your life. You may be learning self-control, emotional maturity, spiritual discipline, or deeper surrender. These lessons are not distractions, they are preparations. God is equipping you so the blessing will not break you. During the waiting, you may also experience moments of emotional pressure. You may feel anxious one moment and calm the next. You may feel ready to move forward, but unsure of where God is leading. This emotional tug-of-war is part of spiritual alignment. Your soul is adjusting to a new season. Your spirit is expanding. Your mind is unlearning old limitations. You are being stretched because your blessing is bigger than your past expectations. Do not fear this internal shift. It is proof that God is molding you for what is coming. You may notice divine restrictions during this time. God may close doors you wanted open. He may slow down paths you wanted expedited. He may quiet certain relationships. He may pull you away from environments that drain your spirit. These restrictions are not obstacles. They are protections. God sees dangers you cannot see. He hears conversations you were not meant to hear. He knows intentions you are not aware of. When God restricts your movement, it is because He is guiding your steps towards something greater. Trust the limitations. They are part of your elevation. One of the most powerful parts of this waiting period is spiritual recalibration. Your desires shift. Your priorities evolve. Things you once chased no longer feel important. You start seeking peace over noise, purpose over popularity, truth over comfort. This is a sign that your spirit is maturing. God is refining your focus so you will recognize your blessing when it arrives. Many people miss their breakthrough because they expect it to look like their imagination. But chosen ones learn to expect what God provides, not what their ego desires. This recalibration ensures that your heart is aligned with heaven's intention. There will also be moments of divine silence. These moments are not punishment, they are spiritual tests. God wants to know if you trust Him even when you do not hear Him. He wants to see if your faith is dependent on results or relationship. Silence is where loyalty is proven. It is where the chosen ones demonstrate their spiritual maturity. Do not mistake divine silence for divine absence. God speaks loudest through what He is shaping, not just what He is saying. Sometimes silence is His way of telling you to watch, listen, and wait. The waiting period also reveals your spiritual resilience. You learn to stand even when nothing pushes you forward. You learn to trust even when everything seems uncertain. You learn to seek God's presence rather than demand God's answers. This resilience is essential because the blessings God prepares for chosen ones come with responsibility. You are not being strengthened to survive. You are being strengthened to lead. God is building endurance in you so you can carry what is destined to rest on your shoulders. Another powerful aspect of this phase is redirection. You may feel God pulling you toward new ideas, new paths, new passions, or new environments. This redirection is not random. God is guiding you toward the version of your life that aligns with your prayer. Sometimes He answers your request by changing your surroundings. Sometimes He answers by changing your heart. And sometimes He answers by changing the people around you. Redirection is heaven's way of steering you toward your breakthrough without exposing you to the traps hidden along the way. During this waiting period, God also strengthens your spiritual ear. You begin hearing His instructions more clearly. You feel nudges in your spirit. You sense warnings before mistakes. You notice alignment you once overlooked. This sensitivity increases because God wants you prepared for what comes next. Your discernment becomes sharper because your next season requires wisdom, not impulse. God is training you to recognize the difference between opportunity and divine assignment. This training is part of your preparation for the blessing that is on its way. Chosen one, the waiting period also teaches gratitude. When you have waited for something deeply, you value it more richly. You appreciate the journey it took to reach it. You understand the effort God invested in it. Gratitude becomes the anchor that keeps your blessing grounded. Many people receive quickly and forget quickly, but chosen ones receive with reverence. You will honor what God gives you because you understand the process God took you through to prepare you for it. This waiting period is also where God protects the promise. He hides the blessing until the environment is safe. He hides your next season until you are spiritually stable. He hides your breakthrough until your surroundings match your destiny. God protects what He prepares. This protection sometimes looks like delay, but it is actually divine strategy. God will never release something prematurely if it risks being destroyed. He waits until the moment is perfect to reveal what He has been shaping for you. Chosen one, understand this deeply. The waiting period is not a void. It is a spiritual workshop. It is where God builds, heals, shapes, removes, strengthens, and aligns. It is where He sharpens your spirit and polishes your purpose. It is where He prepares the path and prepares your heart. Everything about this season is necessary. Everything about this season is intentional. Everything about this season is divine. Your prayer has reached heaven. God has taken over the battle. And now, in this waiting period, He is perfecting everything concerning you. The blessing is forming. The breakthrough is aligning. The answer is unfolding. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust the God who has never failed His chosen ones. Your waiting is not wasted. Your waiting is preparation. And soon, what you prayed for will step out of the unseen and into your life with divine power. Signs that God is about to move suddenly. Chosen one, when God is preparing to move suddenly in your life, the atmosphere around you begins to shift before anything physical changes. These shifts are not random. They are precise, divine indicators that heaven is aligning something powerful behind the scenes. You may not recognize every sign immediately, but your spirit feels them. Chosen ones always sense movement in the unseen realm before the manifestation arrives. God gives you spiritual clues that your breakthrough is approaching because He wants your heart to be prepared, your mind to be strengthened, and your faith to remain firm. When God moves suddenly, it is swift, transformative, and undeniable. And chosen one, that moment is drawing near for you. One of the first signs that God is about to move suddenly is an unexpected internal calm. This calm does not match your situation. It does not make sense logically. You may still be waiting for answers, still facing challenges, still looking at circumstances that seem unchanged, yet your spirit carries a peace that feels almost supernatural. This peace is not self-created. It is placed there by God to prepare you for the shift He is about to release. Peace is a divine signal that heaven is taking action. When your spirit becomes still, it is because your breakthrough is no longer uncertain. It is approaching. Another powerful sign is a sudden emotional or spiritual detachment from things that once held your attention. You may feel yourself pulling away from certain relationships, environments, or patterns. You may feel less interested in conversations that used to occupy your thoughts. You may feel a quiet separation from old habits, as if your spirit is stepping into a higher level of existence. This detachment is not a sign of disconnection. It is a sign of elevation. God is pulling you upward, away from what no longer aligns with your destiny. Before He moves suddenly, He often removes distractions so nothing interferes with His blessing. You may also notice a shift in your desires. Things you once prayed for may no longer appeal to you in the same way. You begin craving deeper purpose, stronger peace, and clearer direction. Surface-level desires start to fade, and your spirit begins to long for what God has ordained for you rather than what your emotions once demanded. This desire shift is a powerful sign that God is preparing something greater than what you originally imagined. When God is about to move, He aligns your desires with His plan, so you will recognize the blessing when it arrives. A sudden increase in spiritual sensitivity is another key indicator. Your discernment becomes sharper. You begin noticing signs, patterns, and confirmations that never caught your attention before. You sense when something is right or wrong almost instantly. Your dreams become more vivid, and sometimes they carry messages or symbols that speak directly to your spirit. You may even experience moments where you feel God nudging you in certain directions or warning you away from certain paths. This heightened sensitivity is God tuning your spiritual ear because what He is about to do requires your awareness. You cannot afford to move blindly, so He sharpens your ability to recognize His voice. One of the most mysterious signs is the appearance of unusual obstacles or spiritual resistance. Right before a breakthrough, the enemy often tries to create confusion, discouragement, or setbacks. This is because the enemy senses movement in the spiritual realm. He knows God is about to elevate you, so he attempts to distract or weaken your faith. But chosen one, resistance is not a sign of failure. It is confirmation that something powerful is approaching. If you were not close to something divine, darkness would not bother reacting. The presence of pressure is evidence that heaven is preparing your blessing. You may also notice unexpected endings. Relationships may fade suddenly. Opportunities may close without explanation. Plans you thought were stable may shift unexpectedly. Though these endings may feel uncomfortable, they are divine. God removes what cannot travel with you into your next season. He ends what would interfere with your breakthrough. When God is preparing to move suddenly, He clears your environment so the blessing has space to unfold. Not every ending is a loss. Many endings are protection. Another sign is the appearance of divine connections. People enter your life with wisdom, encouragement, or opportunities that align with your spirit. These individuals may show up unexpectedly, yet their presence feels purposeful. They may say something that gives you clarity. They may offer support you didn't know you needed. They may guide you toward the next step in your journey. God uses people as vessels to confirm his movement. These divine connections are not coincidences. They are heavenly appointments preparing you for what is coming. One of the most comforting signs is sudden clarity. Thoughts that were once tangled become organized. Problems that once felt overwhelming suddenly appear solvable. Doubts that once clouded your vision begin to fade. You begin to see your situation from a higher perspective. This clarity comes from God, not from your mind. It is a sign that he is clearing a spiritual path for the manifestation of your breakthrough. Clarity prepares you to walk confidently into the sudden shift God is arranging. You may also notice yourself receiving unexpected provision. It could be financial, emotional, or spiritual. Something you needed appears without effort. A need is met before you even ask. A solution arrives the moment you feel overwhelmed. This is God giving you a preview of the blessing that is coming. Provision is God's way of telling you, I am with you, and I am already moving. When God starts supplying your needs unexpectedly, it is a sign that the larger breakthrough is close. Another powerful indicator is a renewed sense of hope. You may have felt exhausted, drained, or uncertain in previous seasons, but suddenly you feel life returning to your spirit. You begin imagining possibilities again. You begin feeling excited about your future. You begin believing again, even if you were discouraged before. This renewed hope is a divine spark placed inside you by God. It is the inner announcement that something good is on the horizon. Hope is heaven's language of preparation. You may even find yourself feeling a strong urge to clean, prepare, or reorganize parts of your life. This could be physical, like cleaning your home, or spiritual, like releasing old emotions or forgiving someone from your past. This urge is your spirit sensing that a new chapter is approaching. You prepare because heaven is preparing. You make room because God is about to place something new in your life. This preparation is not random. It is instinctive and divine. Another sign is divine interruption. Plans you make may change suddenly, but the shift leads you into alignment. You may be pushed in directions you did not anticipate, yet everything flows smoothly. God interrupts what is ordinary to introduce what is extraordinary. He changes your course to match your calling. These interruptions are signs that heaven is positioning you for a sudden move. Chosen one of the clearest signs is the spiritual acceleration you feel inside. You sense momentum even before anything changes. You feel like something is close. You wake up with a sensation of expectancy. This acceleration is God speeding up the timeline of your blessing. When heaven accelerates, breakthroughs that once took years can happen in moments. The supernatural does not follow earthly time. God moves according to his will, and when he accelerates, sudden miracles begin to unfold. Finally, the most profound sign that God is about to move suddenly is a divine knowing. You cannot explain it. You cannot describe it fully. You just feel it rising in your spirit. A quiet voice inside you says, "Get ready." This knowing comes from God. It is his final whisper before the shift. Chosen one, all these signs are aligning in your life because God is preparing to move suddenly. The atmosphere is shifting, the path is clearing, the breakthrough is forming. And soon, what has been delayed will arrive swiftly, beautifully, and undeniably by the hand of God. What God needs you to do now. Chosen one, now that heaven is preparing to move suddenly in your life, there are specific spiritual instructions God wants you to follow. These instructions are not complicated, but they are essential. They are the keys that keep your spirit aligned with the blessing that is forming. When God is about to release something powerful, he guides his chosen ones with clarity, purpose, and divine expectation. And if you follow what he is asking of you in this season, you will be positioned perfectly for the breakthrough he has already set in motion. The first thing God needs you to do now is remain spiritually grounded. This means staying rooted in faith, not emotion. Your feelings may shift day by day, but your faith must remain steady. Faith is what activates divine movement. Faith is what keeps your spirit connected to God's plan. You do not need to be perfect, but you must be consistent. Spend time in spiritual reflection. Speak life over your journey. Keep your heart open to God's presence. When you stay grounded, you become immovable no matter what noise surrounds you. Another important instruction is to protect your peace. Peace is not just a comfort. It is a spiritual shield. When God is working behind the scenes, the enemy tries to disrupt your internal peace so you lose focus. You must guard your mind from unnecessary conversations, draining relationships, and situations that disturb your spirit. Do not entertain negativity. Do not explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. Do not allow emotional chaos to distract you. Peace is where God speaks clearly. Peace is where your spirit stays aligned. The enemy knows this, which is why he attacks your peace more than anything else. Protect it like a treasure from heaven. God also needs you to practice obedience. Obedience is not always easy, but it is always necessary. Sometimes God will ask you to move. Sometimes he will ask you to wait. Sometimes he will tell you to release something you were emotionally attached to. And other times, he will instruct you to step into something new and uncomfortable. Whatever he tells you in this season, follow without hesitation. Obedience positions you for elevation. When God sees your willingness to follow his guidance, he opens doors that no earthly force can close. Your obedience today determines the blessings that unfold tomorrow. Another instruction is to guard your tongue. Your words hold power, and in this season, they shape your path more than ever. Speak only what aligns with God's promise. Do not speak fear into your process. Do not speak doubt into your journey. Do not give life to negative thoughts by expressing them repeatedly. Instead, speak blessings over your situation. Speak strength over your spirit. Speak alignment over your future. The spiritual realm responds to your words, and God needs your voice to match the blessing he is preparing to release. God also wants you to detach from old identities. You cannot carry your past into your new season. The doubt-filled version of you cannot enter the place God is taking you. The wounded version of you cannot carry the blessing waiting ahead. The fearful version of you cannot stand in the position God is calling you into. Release the person you used to be. Release the stories that weighed you down. Release the habits that delayed your growth. You are stepping into a new phase, and God needs you to walk into it with a transformed spirit, not an outdated identity. Another instruction is to remain open to divine redirection. God may shift your path without warning. He may change your plans suddenly. He may push you into new environments or introduce you to people who play a role in your next season. Do not resist these changes. Redirection is often God saving you from wasted time, unnecessary pain, or spiritual traps. When something shifts unexpectedly, do not panic. Ask God what he is doing. Ask him what he needs you to learn. Ask him where he is guiding you. A chosen one trusts divine redirection even when it interrupts personal plans. God also wants you to strengthen your spiritual discipline. This means creating a deeper connection with him through consistent habits. These habits may include prayer, reflection, worship, reading spiritual texts, or simply sitting in silence to hear his guidance. Discipline builds spiritual endurance. It conditions your soul to handle the blessing that is coming. A blessing without discipline becomes a burden, but a blessing received with spiritual strength becomes a foundation for even greater things. Let discipline reshape your daily life. One of the most important instructions God gives his chosen ones in this season is to release control. You cannot control how God blesses you. You cannot control when he moves. You cannot control every outcome, and the more you try, the more frustrated you become. Release your grip on the things you were never meant to manage. God wants you to trust him to complete what he has already begun. Let him handle the details. Let him orchestrate the timing. Let him prepare the right environment. Your role is to trust, not to control. God also needs you to purify your intentions. Ask yourself, why do you want the blessing you are praying for? Is it for growth, healing, purpose? Or is it rooted in ego, competition, or insecurity? When your intentions are pure, the blessing flows without resistance. When they are mixed, the process becomes complicated. Purity opens spiritual doors. Purity aligns your heart with God's heart. Purity clears the path between you and your breakthrough. Take time to evaluate your motives and align them with God's will. Another instruction is to prepare yourself mentally and emotionally. Blessings require capacity. Elevation requires readiness. Some chosen ones ask for blessings they are not yet prepared to hold. God is strengthening your mind so you will not crack under the weight of the blessing. He is expanding your emotional maturity so you will not sabotage what He gives you. Preparation may feel uncomfortable, but it is necessary. You cannot step into your next level with a limited mindset. You must rise to match what God is releasing. Finally, God needs you to stay expectant. Expectation is faith in motion. Expectation tells heaven, I believe the blessing is on the way. Expectation keeps your spirit awake. Expectation keeps your heart ready. Expectation invites miracles. Chosen one, do not lose your sense of expectation because of past delays. This is a new season, and God is moving differently now. Hold your expectation like a spiritual torch. Let it burn even when everything looks still. Your expectation is a declaration of trust. And trust is what activates the supernatural. Chosen one, these instructions are not burdens, they are blessings. They are the keys to aligning your spirit with the breakthrough God is preparing. Remain grounded, protect your peace, follow divine instruction, speak with purpose, release your past, embrace redirection, strengthen your discipline, let go of control, purify your intentions, prepare your spirit, and remain expectant. Do these things now, and you will be perfectly aligned for the sudden, powerful, undeniable move of God that is coming into your life. Conclusion. Chosen one, now that you've walked through this message, understand something with absolute certainty. God has already received your prayers. They have reached His throne, they have been acknowledged, and they have been sealed with divine intention. Nothing you prayed for was ignored. Nothing you cried for was overlooked. Nothing you whispered in desperation was forgotten. Heaven has heard you, and heaven has already begun moving on your behalf. This season you are stepping into is not a season of asking. This is a season of trusting. God wants you to release fear, release worry, and release control. He wants you to walk forward with a spirit that expects His goodness, not doubts His timing. The process you have endured, the silence you have navigated, and the patience you have developed were never wasted. They were shaping you into a vessel strong enough to hold the blessing that is approaching. Chosen one, your life is about to unfold in a way that reveals God's fingerprints all over your journey. Breakthroughs will appear where you least expect them. Doors will open that were once sealed shut. Battles that intimidated you will fall without your effort. You are entering a phase where God will demonstrate that He has been in control the entire time. Hold this truth in your heart. When God moves, He moves perfectly. When He restores completely. When He blesses abundantly. And when He elevates His chosen ones, no force in existence can hold them back. Walk forward with strength. Walk forward with clarity. Walk forward with the calm confidence of someone who knows heaven is working behind the scenes. Your prayers reached God. He has taken over. And now, chosen one, all you must do is stay aligned and witness what He is about to do in your life.